Hey
Good.
Jared, good to have you. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Adam?
Good, thank you. So great to have you on. Great to have you as a loyal StartADAM customer.
Yeah,
Very keen to just do this little casual case study and hear how StartADAM has been helping Neutech. Do you want to share a little bit about what Neutech is?
yeah, absolutely. So Neutech, we are a software development agency. We are more on the staff augmentation side where we have engineers all over the world that we vet and train in-house, and then we plug them into growing startups on a month-to-month basis to keep flexibility high. Everyone's senior level. We don't have any mids or juniors on our team. So yeah, we are like the SEAL Team 6 of staff augmentation is really how we do things. So naturally, StartADAM became like a really useful tool for us. It's something that's why I'm here. I wanted to tell the world about how great it can be for them. Because really for us, it there are certain situations that it really did move the needle in a way that um, you know saved us a ton of money and time in many different respects. Predominantly, thinking about things, there's been use cases within, as all agency owners will attest to and know, customers sometimes really want to communicate with you in the way that they like to communicate. And that is not always what you, as the agency director, owner, project manager, want to receive that communication. Like, for example, I don't really love getting a text message from my client at like 8 p.m. When I'm sitting down to eat dinner with my wife, when instead that could have been a Slack message on a Slack Connect or something else, right? No matter how much I've asked them and how many times I've asked them to use Slack or to respect the Slack, they just don't do it, right? So a really great use case for me in my personal life and also for my PMs to, separate church and state and to, also like work-life balance and frankly keep streamlining communication, because if I get a text message and then somebody will send a Slack and then something shows up in Jira, it's so much stuff. Um, it's so much stuff to try and manage and piece together to make sure you don't lose things. And with StartADAM, what's been really helpful is that it doesn't matter who on their team is messaging us. It can be somebody that does use Slack, and they can be connected by StartADAM, or it could be somebody who, uses text message only, and then I give them a text, a number to text, and I receive it in the place that I want to receive it, right? So it helps streamline things into a single channel. It helps protect me in my personal life. Also me not missing things, while I work, I'm on Slack all day. I also am on email all day. But I do not use or touch my cell phone unless I'm on a phone call. I do not text. I'm a bad texter in general. And then when I get specs texted to me, like PDFs, photos, videos of like bugs or whatever else might be going wrong, and it comes to my phone, I'll miss it, or I'll open the text and forget about it. But when it goes, to Slack, from their text message, now my team can handle it if I'm in a meeting without me even being there, like
The
automatic
handoffs. Yeah.
handoffs. And there's so much time saved by me not having to dictate everything that comes to me from text, from WhatsApp, from Telegram, from all over the place. It can just be direct communication to my team so that I do not have to be that messenger. And I can focus on sales, which we've seen a huge increase in efficiency by virtue of saving me and my other project managers time by not having to middleman that communication channel.
Wonderful. So that speaks really well to the operations use case of StartADAM. And you might also be interested that we also have an outbound texting feature now,
Oh,
where you
wow.
can do at StartADAM and type text,
Yeah.
TEXT, and then you can trigger a text message or a WhatsApp from within Slack itself. So that's the
Oh,
onboarding
wow.
experience. You don't need to use your A-Link, which I think yours is a.link/Newtech. If
That's
anyone
right.
wants a SEAL Team 6 of development agencies. Thanks for that. Speaking of sales, so you're talking about a little bit about your sales process there. Uh, what are you what would you be using if not for StartADAM? Would it be email and phone calls? And like, what has the impact been on us from the sales perspective in integrating chat into the sales process?
Yeah, what it enables us to do is get back to customers very quickly. So what I've noticed is that many customers will um, be very eager to get answers on the things that they need very fast. And if they don't get that instant gratification, they start, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they're not going to sit there and wait for me to reply to an email 4 or 5 hours later. They'll probably hit up a bunch of different agencies, right? And at the same time. So if you can get back to them immediately and actually strike a conversation pretty instantaneously, what it really allows us to do in that sense is not only try and win the business ourselves, but it deters them from starting to, shoot out a plethora of emails to a bunch of other companies and get back to them. So we're limiting their outbound search when looking for a company. Like we'll get our opportunity much faster than having to compete with many other companies, because simply we responded first and faster, right? So in that sense, that has been very helpful. And then it also carries through, that channel, once the lead is hopefully closed, that channel never has to close. As you can just convert it into something else. So you can actually make it as a part of your workflow where, yes, the sale comes in, I have an A-link created with that customer. They're messaging me directly. I add somebody on my side to the group, pass it off without them having to change anything or do anything else. So there's no more having to onboard them into a new system, no more passing them off necessarily. It just be somebody else will chime in because I added them there, and it'll go from there.
Do you have any idea about how, what percentage increase in the sales cycle this has had? Or sorry, what percentage increase in speed of the sales cycle this may have had, or any idea, or any idea of what revenue impact this might have had? Does it help you close 1 or 2 deals that would have fallen through otherwise, do you think? And what was that worth?
I think that I wouldn't quantify it as something that helped me close it faster, in the sense that StartADAM was the reason that the deal. I think that the way that StartADAM has helped us in the sales cycle in that front has been that there's less competition. Because so for me, like, maybe deals will close a bit faster, not necessarily because of anything that we did differently, but more so we were just faster. So in that sense, I do think that StartADAM has positively increased our revenue, and for us, one sale is very every one deal can be a very big, large deal. So having less competition when obviously there's a lot of money at play is very helpful for closing deals. I don't have an exact metric, but I would surmise that, let me give you a better metric. Being whenever we have between 5 and 10 competitors in the mix for trying to compete for business, our close rate's probably closer to 10 to 15%. When we are one of 3 companies, our close rate goes up to about 30% or 40%. And StartADAM has helped us get closer to that 30 to 40% bucket by virtue of not having so many other people come into the sales cycle mix for our customers.
Wow. So by virtue of that, StartADAM has helped you close probably 6-figure deals.
Oh, that's very safe to say. Yeah. And not just close, but maintain, right? So for me, the sales cycle is not just about, striking a contract. It's also about account management and the selling never stops. The easiest customer to sell is the one you already have, right? So in that sense, having the constant communication and the organization of communication of what StartADAM brings to the table, not only for us, most of our deals are recurring revenue. It's not set rate. It's more, you have people in your team continuously for as long as your company's alive, hopefully. So StartADAM has played a role not just in the initial what we scoped to be 6-figure deals, but probably closer to 7-figure deals with how long some of these contracts hopefully last for.
Wow, that's incredible. Glad to hear it. As a founder, that always puts a smile on our faces, as I'm sure you know. So in terms of that, talking about business risks, your industry has certain risks, as every industry does. Sounds like churn is one of them, naturally, but in your case, that can be very costly.
Sure.
And the other one, I guess, would it be potential poaching of clients? And if so, how does StartADAM? You talked a little bit about mitigating churn, but is that something that has helped as well?
a very interesting use case for us is that we as an agency, we kind of think of ourselves as wholesalers, in the sense that, we have developers on our team, obviously, but then other agencies, if you were to lift up the hood of a couple different LA-based agencies, you'll find that it's just Neutech engineers under the hood, being white labeled as said agency's team, with a markup, right? We've branded it that way. We've built that way. We do it on purpose. What StartADAM is very helpful for is, as you might imagine, when you're being white labeled, right? Your customers are going to want you to have their company emails, their Slack, their everything. But when you create a StartADAM channel, I can keep them in the Neutech Slack, add my customers, my agency customers, to that same channel with StartADAM, because it completely masks that we're in Neutech. It just says person's name, right? And then you can also add their end customer into the Slack too, so that, as far as the end customer is concerned, we could be messaging them via StartADAM from Neutech and be from, the white labeled agency's brand, without them ever even knowing, without the logistics of having to create a new email, which, by the way, saves tons of money, because you have to pay, we use Google Workspace. It's $12 a month per email. StartADAM is $13.99 for unlimited channels, or at least the last time I saw the pricing. I just pay it. I don't even look at the bill anymore because of the ROI we get from it. But from that standpoint, right, you're saving $12 a month for creating a new Google's Workplace email that I now don't have to make or pay for, because I can just use StartADAM to bridge that gap and not have to create a white label for that developer. It also allows end customers, not to your point, not to poach, because it completely masks their email and identity to the extent that I want it, or we want it, to be masked. But from that white labeling standpoint, really the value that the massive value, like, there's value all around, but the exponential massive value that we receive is around logistics. Logistics become much easier, especially in white labeled relationships, when you're a wholesaler and in the service industry.
So this is useful for a partnership perspective also, in retaining and helping you manage partnerships across firms and communication across firms.
Yeah, because now you don't really ever need to worry, like, which Slack are they? What email is it? It's masked, right? So I can just create a channel using StartADAM, add a customer, and end, a target customer, an end customer. It doesn't really matter. And they can be in the group. And for all intents and purposes, as far as the customer knows, it's from the perceived, it's from the perceived agency or place that they're expecting a message to come from. They'll never know.
And I guess another thing that I'm just thinking is, if before you would have used something like Slack Connect and the other person closed the channel, you may have lost some of that data. Is that something that you've noticed and felt an impact on?
Yeah, I mean, it happens probably once or twice a quarter where I'll get a random message at like 1 a.m. like that X customer has left your Slack because they don't no longer pay for their Slack Connect anymore. And wow. so, they're just gone. You have no idea how to do it. With StartADAM, I pay for it. It's not that they pay for it. They just have to be in it. And I never have to fear that they're just going to drop out. Like, what happens if there's a big deliverable and they don't want to pay for Slack Connect, or they're only paying for Slack Connect because they want to connect with us. It is a pain. I mean, the fact that you can connect from Slack to Slack, and have all of the added benefits of masking your engineers, and also the added benefit of not having to go through the logistical nightmare that can be a Slack Connect. I mean, it's now our preferred way of connecting with customers. Amazing.
Love to hear that. Thanks, Jared. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just I guess the biggest thing is that as a company owner, you're always looking for new ways to create efficiency. StartADAM, in my opinion, is a tool that can create great value for low cost, especially when you factor into consideration your own time. So, the biggest thing that I would like to just say is, while my use case is very specific and niche, I feel like every company especially in the service industry, has their own workflow that StartADAM does have the flexibility of being able to add value. And maybe the value that I have is different from the value that somebody else might have. But there has been no downside. It's only been upside. And it's something that I would highly recommend.
That's great. And yeah, a good point. Everyone has a different communication workflow. I think you actually, maybe you didn't notice it, but on our website, we have 3 areas that we concentrate on. So sales, operations, and compliant communications. So you spoke about the sales piece, you spoke about operations being internally handing off and connecting from a partnership perspective, and then compliance, which is having retention around all that communication data and keeping it in your own Slack account. So everyone is different, but I love to see it being used across all 3 areas that we like to focus on. So thank you again.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me here. I wouldn't be here unless I really believed in the product. I'm not somebody that likes to publicly go out there and vouch for things that I don't believe in. So this is definitely worth the turn, worth a try. And frankly, once you'll find that you'll get your ROI from it very quickly.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jared.
No problem, Adam.